Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first social science coffee break of 2026. I am Stacy, and today I want to share with you an elementary resource that I created just before leaving in December on my holiday break, based on the Ondinodekwan. So I'm very excited to share that with you. So this activity is designed for Cycle 2 or Grade 3 students who are learning about the Iroquois nations, and it's based on the Ganigahaga practice of the Ondinodekwan or the Thanksgiving address, or also known as the words that come before others. In this activity, students are going to read or listen to the Ondinodekwan as is spoken by nations in Quebec. After they listen or read the Ondinodekwan, their job is to think about what meaning they can make and what is the significance of daily life for the Iroquois nations who are giving or practicing that have this practice. And I really like this activity because it's using resources and a practice that is was and still is today practiced by Iroquois nations. So that instead of looking at Iroquois nations using resources that were maybe produced by European sources around 1500. It's using practices from that nation, those nations. So I am going to open up the resource on societies and territories for you to see. And you'll notice that there is a teacher's guide and a student workbook that accompanies this resource. So I'm just going to open it up for you, the student workbook. So as you'll see, this activity is for competency 1, again, focusing on daily life. The students will have to listen or read again to the Thanksgiving address, and then they'll have to think about the purpose and of different elements in this address. So for example, if they're thanking the sun or thanking the plants, what were the reasonings and why did they think that was significant enough for them to include in their Ondinodekwan address? After they read a little text about seventh generation and what it means to be borrowing the earth from the future generations. And then they wrap up the activity after document analysis by making a gratitude poster that includes at least 3 elements of the Ononodekwan. And they could do this on paper, but in terms of digital competency, there are tons of different online and digital tools that students can use to create their poster. For example, Canva, if they're 13 plus or have permission at your board, is a great tool. It's got a bunch of built-in elements that students can grab pictures, say example of corn and bean and squash, and add them to their gratitude poster and explain a bit about the significance of those elements. Another tool that they could use is just a Google Slides deck or a PowerPoint deck, again, adding in some images as well as some text to really showcase their knowledge. And that's a wonderful way and for students to differentiate a bit their understanding because they can show their understanding with pictures and as well as text and maybe some short audio clips in those tools as well. So that is it for me. I wish you a wonderful 2026, and I'm going to pass it to Paul so he can share his secondary resource.
Hello, and welcome again to another Social Sciences Coffee Break session. This time, I'm going to be sharing the secondary resource. So I'm going to share a tool that many of you probably already know called Canva. And a particular example where students can create infographics about a particular community. What is Canva? Well, it's a tool that helps students create infographics and could be used to represent a Northern Indigenous community. In other words, the tool Canva can be used as a way, as a part of a process where you're fairly and accurately representing a community through research, through contacts, and so on. Canva. Why Canva? It provides a high quality and a real world example in the sense that it's a high powered tool that could really be used for community representations. And this particular example shows it within a learning process that respects, as I said, local perspectives. Where is it? On the Learn Educator site. It's a secondary one cycle geography resource. I'll take you directly there, but keep in mind that it's also available from the cycle one geography page. So let's take a look at what the resource looks like. This is actually another science, social sciences tech tip in the sense that it's sort of what's contained. It shows an example that's used in a larger learning unit. So basically what it is it's using the tool to write a description of a particular community. You're going to write the location of the community, and you could map it on something like Cartograph or Google Maps so that people know where it is. And then you're going to need to students are going to need to research information related to the way the territory is occupied, or in a broader sense, used by the people who live on the territory. So it's got to do with economics and so on. So here's some questions that they could ask and try to find out about the community. How do people get there and around in the past and in the future? So talking about the historical connection and the transportation and in and out of the community. Uh, for geography, what natural resources are exploited in the community? So an economic connection. What are other resources that are available in the community? Like there's skills in the community, tourism, also related to the economy. And in particular, in this particular example, something about the traditional life of community. And in this case, it's about the use of the land, so how that connects to the land. And to get a full portrait of the community, how the community's government functions, the political aspect. So various aspects are covered in these sort of sample questions. The tooltip actually has a link to how to make an infographic in 5 easy steps. So a little video that's quite good. Suggests creating an account. Students often have accounts in their boards these days, and it gives you a link to a collection of templates. And this is a particular search where I just searched the word city infographic, and I got a what it might look like. So you can see that there's various options that they could, if they like the format and it has the right number of categories that are in the questions, for example, or in whatever they're doing, that they can use one of these templates and start from that. Now, so that's basically the tech tip, and the context for this particular one is in an LES called Nunavut and Indigenous Territory. I'm not going to run through it right now because the resource I was sharing was more about the Canva example. But basically, this is an activity where students are characterizing and understand the history of Nunavut, which is part of the Secondary One program, and considering the challenges for planning and development of the Nunavut communities. And there's a part of that LES where it suggests picking a community, finding the websites on that are from that community or about that community, ideally from, and even contacting members of the community and asking them certain bits of information in the questionnaire. And afterwards, you could share the infographic with that community and get their take on how it went and whether things should be changed and so on. It's a real life example. These communities do make infographics and publicity about their own community, and they do try to explain their community to others. So that's my share for today. It's Canva used to create infographics to represent a community. Thanks a lot. See you next time.